Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So these are all the IPPONS at Tashkent. Now I do say IPPONS, but there are quite a few wazaris in here. Some really nice wazaris that I just had to include. Quite a lot of newaza as well. Usually I don't include a lot of newaza just because it all kind of looks the same. Everyone's kind of looking for that same kind of shape. But sometimes there's some nice transitions, some interesting submissions, and there's definitely some in this video, so stay tuned for that. As always, I hope you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you need a kuzakuragi, hit me up on Instagram, and if you want to become a channel member, hit that join button. It's a real easy way to support the channel, and for those who are members already, thanks a lot. You guys keep this ship running. So let's get into it, and as I said, some really nice wazaris. This one here, a front Uchimata from Chapanov. That was a big one. Just had to include it. This one as well, kind of an overthrow, but a big ogoshi here. And I mean, sometimes these wazaris, you just look at them and you're like, man, that's way better than some of the IPPONS. Another one, similar, an ogoshi from Palati. Now you gotta remember, Palati, he's coming up in weight. He used to compete at 81s, but here he is picking up and demolishing guys at under 90s. So he's definitely fit into the weight class very well. Now this one here, I thought this was Hansogamake because Ivanov goes on his head, but someone pointed out that his knees touch the mat. And so I guess your shoulders or your knees, or even your elbows, if they touch the mat before your head does, you're allowed to have a little bit of head diving in your techniques. This is a really weird way to do Ippon Seoinage. Sagimuki, he does it really well. And people are starting to copy it. Celi Diaz at under 90s, he won at under 90s. Almost identical. I mean, it's so weird, entering with the ochi and then attacking the outside leg with the elbow. Tasoev now, and he's so good to be able to move like this at plus 100s. Look at this, the Uchimata and then the fake. So Blue, thinking it was another Uchimata, goes behind him for the Tani Otoshi. And this Uchimata, oh my god. Doesn't get better than that. You know, when someone starts walking you in that direction, it just gets really, really scary. You never know when they're going to put that foot in and go for it. Now this one was an interesting one. White initiates the kochi. I guess he was looking for some kind of kochi. But Blue turns it against him. And look at that, turns it into a makikomi. I mean, that was incredibly well done. Now this one here, White makes a mistake. Goes for a little bit of ashiwaza. And then Blue jumps on top of it with the kataguruma. Watch as he comes up, and watch White plant his foot after the ashiwaza. He just waited for that foot to be planted, and then went in for that beautiful kataguruma. Now this is one of the highlights of the tournament, Bobanov. Now he was down a wazari at this point, and then two hands, very, very deep on his opponent. Picks him up and demolished him. Huge ogoshi. And here's another one from the man himself. Now the craziest thing about this is Bobanov, watch his left hand. We'll do it again. He's not initiating, which means he's kind of waiting. And it's almost like he's waiting for Morales to take that bear hug grip, and then he goes for the Uchimata. So Bobanov, a lot of confidence to just wait for someone to bear hug him, and then launch that Uchimata. And here's a big one from the man, Todoroboyev. He's on the up and up at the moment. Very hard to stop an Uchimata like this against someone so lanky. Big arms, big legs, and uses it in all the right ways. Ota, he had a good performance, taking gold, and he makes it look easy. Can you imagine how hard it is to make a plus 100 kg guy move like that with an Ochigari? There's a reason you don't see it much at heavyweight, and I think that's why. Really nice Sasai here. And awkward grip. So it goes for the big overhand over the top on the cross side, and then goes for a Sasai, and it's a really interesting combination. Nagase now, one of my favorites. And watch him just cut the angle before he goes in for his Osotogari. On the fade back, you can just see him line it up. And that foot, Albarak's got the wrong foot forward, just because Nagase is so hard with the pressure on the back of the head. Now this newaza sequence, I really like it. Watch the work with the hands, under the neck. See how he's just tightening that up. And then that leg across the shoulder. And the tap comes pretty quickly shortly after, so always love to see that, a good combination between tachiwaza and the newaza. This one kind of the opposite from Smetov. Goes down to his knees on the ground, and then on the way up gets him with a really nice ashibarai. Have a look at that. Next up, a really clean Seoinage from Picard. Now watch Blue as he's slowly moving in the wrong direction. Just kind of gave it to Picard a little bit there. Now this one from Shumailov, I think he tried to stop the front Uchimata from Lima. It looks like Lima's going for a front Uchimata, and then he counters it beautifully. So, I mean, I haven't had a lot of experience with front Uchimatas, but that seems like a great way to defend it. I mean, this one getting a reaction going forward by Chepanov. A lot of forward pressure. Makes the backwards techniques that much easier. Now this one here, just a Wazari, but I thought this was a really nice counter. If you look at the grips, it couldn't be worse for Blue. But he still manages to get something out of it. Amazing timing. Another one by Muki here. Now classically, this is all Soto to Tanya Toshi, but I mean the second hit doesn't really look like a classical kind of Tanya Toshi, but I mean that's the combination that everyone knows it as. Nice kind of spinning Seoinage here. And it's really nice touch. Watch the back foot of White. As he's on his back, he just doesn't worry about planting it on the mat. Just needs to dive, go to the tatami. So that was a good read by him. And this one here by Albarak, I really like his approach. He's not picking him up, trying to smash him. He's just using his weight correctly. Little chop of the leg with the Ochigari. Gets him down in probably the easiest way possible. Now this is a beautiful Haraigoshi Makikomi. Sobirov trying to do what he can, but that hopping action, hard to stop. Good balance too. Another one from Albarak here. And I want to call this a Tanya Toshi as well, even though it's probably closer to a Kosoto. Shumailov again now. And he's got some weird counters. I mean, countering a Kosoto here with an Uchimata. And then earlier on he had kind of a Uranage counter or a Tanya Toshi counter to a front Uchimata. So Shumailov really awkward counters, but I mean if it works, it works. Here's a nice driving Ochigari. Really turned into it. And Buchard as well. I mean, this was a Wazari, but still one of my favorite techniques, the Ashibarai. When you get it, it just feels so good. Probably one of the most effortless throws in judo, but requires some pretty impeccable timing. This one, watch Blue's right foot. Just kind of trips White over a little bit. But White still stays strong, goes to the knee, and still finishes the Osatogari on one knee. Another big Ogoshi, and another Wazari, but I mean there were just so many of these, and they're really great to see. I love it when people just slam their hips across like that. It's usually something spectacular. Shumailov again, making a third appearance. Now this Uchimata double sleeves. Very hard to execute, especially off the grip that he does it like here. I mean, that was very, very well done. Mariyama would be impressed with that one. Now this Seoinage, I mean, have a look at the right hand of Blue. I mean, to get into this position and then generate power like that with that right hand, it's very hard to do. Have to be doing judo from a young age. Lavrentev now, and have you seen a Juji quicker than this? I mean, that was pretty quick. Now I've got one more newaza ippon from Lavrentev for you guys. Goes to the ground, and then he's already locked out that arm. So using the grips that you have in Tachiwaza to kind of set up your newaza, that's a really good thing. And a lot of people don't think too much about it. Like, oh, I'm this kind of player, I like to grip here, and so usually I go to the ground in this kind of position. Same here. I mean, this is a classic example by Picard, but when you end a Seoinage, you're usually in that kind of position. Great for a Juji. Actually, a little side story, but I once had the opportunity to train with Takato, and he brought this big under 100 guy from Tokai with him. I guess just a friend or a training partner. And I did randori with him, and he would always flick open the gi. You're not allowed to do it now because the gis have to be kept tidy, but he used to always flick open the gi, and then he would have this kind of cross ashiwaza that he would just hit people with, bring them to their knees, and from there he would kind of initiate this newaza transition using that kind of loose piece of gi. And I talked to him about it, and he's like, that's my tokuiwaza, that's what I do all the time. I whip that piece of gi out, I hit people's legs, get them to the ground, and that's what I do. So anyway, here we are with a broken arm. Back to the action, I guess. I didn't know if I would include this one or not, but I mean, if Numanov didn't put his arm down, probably would have been a really nice ippon. And I gotta say, that's probably one of the first times I've seen someone winning by breaking their own arm. It was all his own fault putting his hand down like that, and he won the contest. Absolutely unbelievable. This one I really enjoy from a defensive standpoint. Now look at White, have a look at his kumikata again with his right hand. He really doesn't like the close range. Watch him put his elbow down, trying to push his opponent away, doesn't get it, takes an undergrip, but he doesn't like that either. He's trying to change grips all the time, and then Blue just took advantage of him. Nyman now, and watch him kind of think through this newaza transition. He's looking for all sorts of things, thinking about grabbing the leg, and then this is an interesting grip he has, but gets the turnover. And then usually, in a lot of cases, if people get the turnover, pretty certain that they're going to score. And that is some strong newaza by Nyman. Gets on top, Kesugatame. Osotogari into Seri Otoshi now. And that's a great combination there. Something I should probably do. I do a lot of Osotogari, but don't really combine it that well with many things. Nice drop down Seoinage here. Just kind of going after his opponent. A lot of people, you know, it's a good time mentally. They're kind of not ready for attacks after they've just put in an attack. Now, how about that for an Uchimata? I mean, this guy, he's been watching some Maruyama videos. That was picture perfect. And by picture perfect, I mean, it really looked like Maruyama. Tasuev again. With this driving Ochigari. Don't see much at plus 100. This next one, a nice bit of newaza. And I think it's called an ude garami, but you don't really see this a lot. You see a lot of juji gatame in terms of submissions on the arm. But you can see he's already got it, and Blue's got his hand in an awkward situation. And I think he tapped once there, but taps again. That's a very rare submission. Anyway guys, just a couple more ippons to go. One from Bashaev and one from Kageura. So don't miss those. I probably should have put them earlier on in the video. But anyway, thanks for watching this far. You guys are awesome. I'm going to have another video pretty soon because there is a Grand Prix in Austria, I think, happening right now. I've been a little bit behind, so trying to catch up. Anyway guys, thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.